So I stopped by an apiary I take care of along with a couple other people at the O'Fallon Garden Club, and had a feeling there was a swarm there. I was talking to a guy earlier, and he was talking about the bees and what he saw, and basically it means that there's a swarm going on. So I'm gonna go grab those. It should be a pretty easy catch, but first I'm heading out to another one of my bee yards, which is on a farm not far from my house, as I try to dodge the potholes in the road going back to it. But I'm going to grab I've got a hive that's empty but has frames in it. I've just been keeping it out here I just don't have room in my storage area in my garage for it. So, but it's a full hive, and I'd rather put, if I can, swarms in the hive they're going to stay in. It's just a little less disruptive to them. It's easier on me. I don't have to transfer them again. I will just put these bees, hopefully in this hive. We'll see when we get out to the garden club and capture them. And then close that hive up, ratchet it down, and actually bring it back out here to the farm and place it sort of in the area. I'm going to have two different bee yards. This is a 100-acre farm, and they've got perfect space to have two different bee yards. So I'm going to put these bees in their new location, where I plan to probably have multiple hives, and if this swarm season is anything like it's starting out to be, I'm going to have a lot. So we're going to walk down and go grab another hive and toss it to the car. So hopefully this is a pretty easy catch. I'm just going to take this hive body, set it up here. I have a feeling I know which hive it came out of, because we were in one a few days ago, and it had a bunch of swarm cells, and probably should have pulled the swarm cells and split the hive, but I just didn't have the time, and this is what you get by not taking the time to do it. But that's just the way it goes. So if I can get this to balance up here where I want it. Get rid of the dead bees from the last one. Oops. and a couple, two or three that are still hanging on somehow. God knows how. Okay. Let's set this like that. Set this like that. Pull up your pants. Not because they're falling down, you just don't want your back exposed. You can get this to balance up here underneath the swarm. Well, that's pretty jankety. Oh, I love this. Okay, check this out. So the queen is somewhere in the middle of all of this. Probably, I mean, just in the middle. But I've already got her climbing down to go into the hive. So what I end up doing here is, I'm gonna get rid of more of these so I've got some better room to work. The least I have to shake them to get them to go in, the better I feel. But basically, if I can get them down in, and I'm just going to give this a good shake, and they'll all fall on top. The queen will go in, and then the rest will just march in after her. Okay, so what I'm looking for is these bees to hopefully start climbing down into this and not back up onto this branch. So what I'm looking for to know whether or not I got the queen in there, it's like I'm almost sure I did. It's almost impossible to not, but you're looking for bees to be fanning. See, this bee is fanning right here. This bee's fanning. These bees are fanning over here. They're basically fanning, telling all the other bees that are around, hey, we're in here, the queen's in here, so come on in here and join the party. And another thing that's just critical to know is that when bees swarm, they're at their calmest. They've left their hive. Bees only get defensive if they are defending their hive. So in other words, somebody's trying to take their honey or trying to do something, or if you threaten them, like you grab it or something like that. So that's how bees, or why bees sting. For the most part, when they've swarmed, they don't have anything to defend. So they're not really ready to hurt anybody or anything because they're just basically waiting for their new home. So they're also full of honey. So bees, when they swarm, just before they swarm from the hive, they gorge themselves on honey because they don't know the next time they're going to eat. Instinctually, they're looking for a hollow, open tree or some place that they can fill and move into. As beekeepers, what we do is we try to give them, I've got like 5 frames of old comb here. There's some honey in the middle, so there's a little bit of food just to get them going. And then I've got 5, actually in this I've got 6 frames on the outside. And on the outside, those frames are unbuilt with comb, but the other thing that happens when bees swarm is that they are just hell-bent to make wax. Because they think they're going to move into an empty hole someplace, and they've got to lay wax as fast as they can so the queen can start laying eggs, and so they can start getting new brood into the hive, or new bees into the hive, and also they need a place to store their food. So they're going to come back and fill the new comb with pollen and water and nectar, also that they've got the opportunity to just survive as a hive. As a beekeeper, I could do a lot toward making that happen by providing the resources that they really need to be successful. So hopefully we'll do that. This was an easy catch. I'm really glad. The last one I had was an absolute mess. Took me about an hour. I was scooping bees up, constantly putting them in. This is easy peasy. So basically what I'm going to do now is we're just going to kind of wait it out for a little while, get as many bees to come into this hive, back into this hive as possible. So I'll give them, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes. These bees swarmed from that apiary right over there. A lot of these bees will end up getting left behind because, well, here's the bottom line to it. I just don't want to waste my whole rest of my Saturday afternoon waiting for a few bees. And what they'll end up doing is they'll go, oh, it's not here anymore. And then eventually they'll just go and work their way back into their old hive. So no bees are harmed in this venture. At least you hope not. At this point, these guys are just really doing their thing. Make sure that I don't have a... Nope. Yeah, they took to it. So where I am betting, man, the queen is somewhere down in here. These guys are a little lost and confused because they're split and separated, but they'll be fine. And here in a couple minutes, I'm going to put a little bit more of a top on it. Start to get more and more of them to not circle around up top, but to go back into the hive. Back there's no time like the present. Let's try to do this that we don't kill any bees. And you do that by carefully setting down on an angle and just work your way out until they work their way out. And keep working my way over slowly. Get rid of that. Damn, I made a rookie mistake. I left this back open, and it's a rookie mistake because basically I want to take these bees out of here and put them at the farm that I brought this from. So that means I got to put it in my car. Well, part of the problem to that now is that back is open. So I'm basically going to have to tape it off, and the bees will be in there. I'll untape it when I get back to the farm and just have a lot of pissed off bees, but hey, that's just part of the plan, I guess. Just makes it easier if I don't have to do that, because it looks like I got more going in there. So I use what's called screen bottom boards. So the bottom of this right here is screened off, but it provides me ventilation because we get so hot here in southern Illinois in the winter, or in the summer I mean, that that you need as much air flowing through the hives as possible. So that's why I use these screen bottom boards. But you know, they're open at the back to provide ventilation, and I just plain forgot to close it. But what's encouraging is that I'm seeing fewer and fewer bees coming back, so I don't know where they're all at. I think I'm going to take this whole hive and move it down to the ground, because eventually I need to ratchet strap it so it doesn't come apart while I'm driving it over to its new home. Bees that are in there will basically just stay in there. The crappy part is, so now I have to basically sort of tape it backwards before I tape it up. If I just put tape over it, the bees would all stick to it. Okay, so basically what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the top on, and then I'm going to put this ratchet strap on it. We're going to take it and put it in the car, and then we're going to take it over to the farm. Wasn't quite ready for this, as you'll see when we get over to the farm, because I'd like to have a hive stand built and ready for them to be on, but I will just have them standing on cinder blocks and then go over and reset everything up and have them in their place permanently for their rest of their year. So I'm happy. It's early May. There's a great little beekeeper's phrase that says, a swarm in May is worth a load of hay, which is a good thing in the old times. Swarm in June is worth a silver spoon. Swarm in July isn't worth a fly. And what that basically means is in May, and we're in early May, these bees have probably every opportunity to really build out and have themselves ready to be able to winter over. If they're really, really busy and active, I might actually get a little bit of honey out of them. That's kind of rare, but it is possible, so we'll see what happens. 9, 11, 12 hives I've got, 11 hives, 12. Every single one of them is a swarm. I've never bought bees. I've only gotten bees as swarms and either split them into other hives or caught new swarms. So swarms are called free bees, and I like it. Okay, girls, time to go to your new home. Okay, girls, welcome to your sort of new home. So what we're going to do out here, way down yonder, was where I got this hive from. But I'd really rather have my hives down here, because that's all of a sudden becoming more and more traveled and a little more active. I'm going to leave those 2 hives down there, they're going to be fine. But I'm going to build out this yard here and hopefully at some point have at least 5 hives probably here, but I'd really like to see it be more like 10 or so. And then eventually I'll work on moving those hives back down over here. I probably won't do that until next winter, something like that, when there's less bees and less disruption. So what I'm going to do here, I got a box full of closed up, angry, pissed off bees. I'm going to unstrap them. Then I'm going to take the tape off of them. I'm going to set up a marker, and I'll probably do that first. And a marker is, and I'm just going to grab a stick from over here. And a marker gives the bees something to orient themselves to. When they first fly out of the hive, the foragers, they'll go out and they'll start looking for food to bring back here. They need some sort of marker, so when they come out, I'll tape this stick to the top, and it just gives them a little something more to mark on so that they know to come back to this hive, because it's all brand new to them. When they first come out of the hive, they're going to come out and go, whoa, this is all completely new. They'll fly around the hive 5 or 6 times to orient themselves to where they're at and where the sun is at and what the hive is located looks like. If I've got this on here, it just gives them another opportunity to have a marker. I want the hive facing mostly east. This is actually more kind of southeast, but it does 2 things. Number one, first thing in the morning is when the sun comes up over those trees, it warms the hive up right away, so they get up and out first thing in the morning. The other thing it does is gives a little bit of protection from the late afternoon sun as it kind of goes down back over the trees and doesn't hit the front of the box as much. Hopefully you get a little more air through the front and the back when you do that. So again, all I'm trying to do is just put some markers on these so that it gives the bees something to attract to. They don't see the color. Really, when bees are out, mostly what they are looking for and seeing is ultraviolet colors, because that's what the plants give off, so bees can see the pollen and the nectar, so they can collect both of those. It's how plants and bees work symbiotically, because they need each other. But the shape is what I'm really after. And actually what I'm doing with the front of these hives is experimenting a little bit by putting different shades and textures and stripes on hives, because I'm going to have a lot of hives next to each other here, and you can get what's called drift. Drift is that you have bees that go from one hive to the other hive, and sometimes you can end up with strong hives that basically just decimate small hives that just keep going to other hives. Kind of an experiment, and it gave my wife Joy something to do this what felt like long, ugly, cold winter. So we're going to tape this onto the front. Time for the unveiling. They like to come out and nail your fingers when they first come out, because it's like a rush out. And if I don't get my hands out of the way fast enough, then I end up with stings all over my hand like I've got here from the last time I did it. Okay, so we're going to take the back off. Remember, I made that rookie mistake earlier and left this open. So there's a lot of bees still in here. So we're going to see a little bit come out when I do this. But then I'm going to take off the front. Well, I guess I was wrong. So, okay, well, no big deal there. Now let's get the front done, because then I got to go over and catch another swarm over at the park. It's going to take them a few minutes to figure this out. Actually, you know what? They're far enough away. They don't need. I'm going to give them a bigger front end to get out of. It'll take them a few minutes, but they'll start to figure out that this is the way out. So when you have a swarm, they don't have a lot of food with them, just what they have in their gut. As I said earlier, I try to put frames that have a little bit of food on them inside the box that I've got them in. This is a swarm from last week-ish, and so I feed them. And basically, this top cover, which is the ceiling, has a hole in it that's the size of this mason jar top. Mason jar top has small holes in it, and this is basically sugar water. It's a 1-to-1 mixture of sugar to water, and it's cloudy because I put a additive in it that has some just things that help boost the bees to make them a little bit more productive. So this hive, I feel bad, but this hive goes through one of these quarts about every 12 hours. And they haven't been fed for a couple days, but they've got some other stores and they've got a lot of foragers going out, so I feel pretty good about that. But you basically just do the real quick switcheroo, put the new one on, you get the last straggler off, and you cover them up. No one's the worse for wear, but then I gotta take this spare hunk of water down to the bees that we just hived, and I'm looking for a rock. I put an old board on top of that one down there. You put a rock on top just to keep, like if it got windy, you don't want it to blow off. Rarely you'll have an animal to try to get in there. That's not really the case in this area. I thought I had another rock down here. I guess I don't, but we'll just live with what we got. So we're going to take this back to the other hive. I've got a box I'll put on top of that. Same thing we've got going here, and we're on our way. So the basic process is I just simply put this box on top of the inner cover, and then I put that into the hole, and you got the exact same thing that you had down there. The tricky part, though, is getting the bees out of here. Get these guys to clear out. Try not to kill any bees in the process. Get any stuck. Looks like I was successful. Make sure the top is tight. Cover on. Straighten out for the night. Put my full rock on. There you have it. Okay. Well, let's get set. We got to go get that other swarm.